welcome to my channel. Card making doesn't have to be complicated or use a lot of supplies. It can be super simple, and that's the case with this mixed media card. We are using one napkin, one stencil, very few colors. So we are using this Lazy Life napkin from NinnysNapkins.com, and it's cute. You know, even if sloths aren't your thing, this makes a cute, adorable focal image. And there are so many cute sayings that go with sloths and procrastinating. So I am simply going to use one section of this napkin. And I'm going to put this onto my 6x6 card base from the Crafter's Workshop. Now you could put this on a 6x6 panel if you prefer. What I'm doing on a card can be done on an art journal page, can be done on canvas panels or canvases. So I'm taking off the excess plies. Now I am using my liner brush with a little bit of water. You could use a water brush if you prefer. I like the thinness of my liner brush. I find it's just easier. And I'm cutting off excess napkin and parts of the napkin that I don't want. But to make it easy, I am using a lot of this napkin. Now the background is colored, and I could glue that down as it is, but I'm going to paint my background. I'm going to duplicate kind of the background or in a jungle using my paints. I'm getting as close as I can to my focal image. And I'm even going in between his legs here as he's hanging, and any excess. You can leave that in if you prefer, and paint over the napkin if you wish. So I am going right across, and this 6x6 card base is the perfect size for most napkin focals when they have 4 ones. I'm using my rotary cutter to get a straight edge here so I could put it straight across the top. And now I'm going to glue this down, and I'm going to use my fluid matte meeting from Liquitex, which is my preferred adhesive. I flip it up halfway and glue this down. Now I did not do the background. That's because I'm going to paint the background in around the napkin. And some of that sky that's there is pretty much the color that I'm going with. Lift up the other side and fold it down, and then I put a coat of it on the top. That's so when I add color to the focal image, I have a porous surface. And of course, I'm going to give this a complete dry before I move to the next step. So I cut off the excess. And now I'm going to use a combination of yellow-green and bright green and some turquoise to paint the background in. I'll also be adding some white gesso. So, you know, I start with a brush and I'm just filling that in. I'm matching what was in the background color as close as I can by mixing paints. This is a good activity to do anytime. It helps you learn what colors you can mix together. Very quickly I decide that it's going so slow with the brush, so I start applying it with my fingers. I'm not attempting to get this perfectly smooth and even. In fact, I like the variations that come in. And I also know that I'm planning to do some stamping on most of the parts that are painted. So you can see it, even where I haven't cut out the napkin, I'm painting on top of it. So it all has that painterly effect. So it looks a little less like you've just glued down a napkin. If there's a hard edge, if you kind of stipple some gesso on there and let that dry, that helps remove that harsh edge. I believe the napkin, the stencil that I use here are all available at NinnysNapkins. You should go check out for all her art journaling, mixed media supplies. She's really expanded. So I'm just adding color as I go. And it's very green. Now I want to beef up the color of the focal image. And I'm just using some brown paint, some black. I'm thinning it out somewhat so it's more of a wash. But I want the sloth to stand out the most. I have used this sloth napkin again in a previous tutorial where I did an art journal page, and you have to go check out that video, if only for the background. So I'm using this Seahorse stencil, which has this seaweed on the bottom. I just thought it was the right shape, size, it was a foliage. So don't limit yourself to jungle stencils. Use what you have. And I'm just stenciling that in. I just want to break up, get a little bit of pattern, make it look like it's the jungle, overgrown. And I'm using Prussian blue and turquoise and green and mixing up those colors and layering that stencil. And I'm bringing up to other parts of the napkin here as well. Now I'm taking my Stencil Butters, which are pearlescent. They're kind of like modeling paste. And there's the tub of it. But I'm adding that pearl essence to the card. This is just kind of blinging it up. You can mix iridescent medium with yellow-green if that's the color that you want to get a similar effect, or mix gold with green. So again, adding this metallic pearlescent element makes this look less like you've just glued the napkin down. I think here I'm using chartreuse, and then I grab lime green and I use it on the other leaf. The stencil butters, you can put them through a stencil similar to modeling paste, or you can paint them on like I'm doing here. You can also stamp with them or put them on, apply them with your finger. This just adds that little bit of shine and shimmer. So again, after this, I do make sure that everything is completely dry before I move on to the next step. Can you see the shimmer? I went on Pinterest and searched for sayings with sloth, and there were actually quite a bit. And I chose the one for this card, "Don't hurry, be happy." I thought that was a nice general sentiment that you can send to anyone. And I chose a font that was a little bit bolder. And I put on one side and the other just to spread it out on the card. And I glued it down with my fluid matte medium. I grab a makeup sponge and some black acrylic paint, and I'm edging my page. This just makes it look, it frames it. And I like how the black goes well with the black that's usually in the sentiment that I've added. In real life, this video took under 30 minutes to do. So this card is a quick, easy card, minimal supplies. And then you have something you can mail someone and put a smile on their face. I think this would look cute in a child's bedroom if they have a jungle theme. Now I'm adding a little bit of shading on the sloth itself to make it stand out from the background. I'm using my angle brush and black acrylic paint. There is a video where I teach this shading technique if you want to check it out. I also have lots of other videos where I'm making mixed media cards, where I use the same techniques I use in my art journal and mixed media pieces to make usable art that I can mail away. And I want to add a little bit more shading, so I'm using the shading technique to just add more to my edging. I want it a little bit more diffused, if that's the correct word. And making sure that it is dry. I add to the border by using my Posca pen. Now the napkins, where the napkin's glued down, it's texturized, so you're going to get a sketchy line, so be prepared for that. And there we go. Don't hurry, be happy. I hope you enjoyed this quick tutorial. Give me a thumbs up, ask me a question, leave me a comment. Until next time, go get creative.